Welcome to our talk show, Lucas Talking, on Sios-e Online News Magazine. We are so privileged to have our guest for today, Dr. Pio Dalman Baconga, MBA, CPA, and also a doctoral fellow of the Royal Institute of Accountants, Singapore. Dr. Pio or Sir Pio, whatever he prefers to call him, shall be glad to share with us his experiences as a family man and also his career and also his work experiences in the academy, his professional involvement in the community, and also his really little bit of his awards and citations, and also about his private life, meaning about his family. Sir, you were born in Lapasan, and there's a street named Baconga Street. How did this happen?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to have a conversation with you and perhaps knowing each other better, though we are friends for a long time. Yes, our family, the Baconga family, has been the pioneering settlers of Lapasan. You know, Lapasan is a fishing village just adjacent to the downtown of Cagayan de Oro, and it's now the second biggest barangay. And Kitcay is part of Lapasan. And so our family started there, though our descendants, I believe, our ancestors were coming from Bohol, because most of the people from Cagayan de Oro are from Bohol or Cebu. And so from there, it grew. The name of Baconga Street, which is parallel to the Lapasan and the highway, along the highway, is Mauricio Baconga Street. He is my grandfather. He was known as the father of Barangay Lapasan. He's been a barangay captain until his death. So he was really the recognized leader. So somehow, perhaps I got some of my genes from him, because I'm also very much involved in community service.
You finished high school at Xavier University, and after that, you went to UP to take up mathematics.
Yeah, I graduated. I came from a public school system actually. I graduated from the Lapasan Elementary School, and as valedictorian. So Xavier gave me a scholarship. That's why I took my 4-year high school in Xavier. After which there are a lot of scholarships offered when you are in 4th year, and I really took opportunity to took the chance of taking this scholarship. So,
For high school?
For high school. So I had 4 scholarships actually, but I chose the state scholarship, which is where I took my BS Math.
After high school, you went to UP as a state scholar?
As a state scholar, and then I went back to Cagayan de Oro, and in Xavier, I also had a scholarship. Then I took up my BS in commerce major in accounting.
And you were the magna cum laude?
Fortunately, I landed magna cum laude, which actually paved the way. You know, if you are an honor graduate, it paved the way for more opportunities. But it's just for me, it's just paving the way, but it's not really that the ultimate goal when you graduate.
So going back to high school days, did you graduate as valedictorian, salutatorian, first honors during your high school days?
High school days, I was number 3 in our class.
Oh, first honors.
First honors, first honorable mention.
And then you took up mathematics, and also then you proceeded to accountancy.
Yeah, accountancy, because I'm really fond of numbers.
Numbers.
In high school, I was already usually the contestant in among other inter-school competitions in science, quiz, and the DOST before. The DOST now was formerly in SDB. So every year they had a science quiz and a science fair where you have science projects to receive. There's a contest. So there, I had opportunities to represent Xavier in some of those academic competitions. So it gave me some confidence.
So this is a kind of a highly scholastic achievement. Do you still remember your IQ levels?
No, I don't monitor. I even forgot. But it's not just it's more of discipline and determination. I think that also helped me achieve or accomplish some of these accomplishments that we mentioned.
You took up mathematics at UP. You can be an engineer or you can be an electronic something, but why accountancy?
Accountancy is something that I look forward to also. Though actually, when I was young, in elementary, I would, one of my ambition was really to become a doctor. Though I married a doctor later on, a medical doctor, but that has been my ambition before, but we cannot afford it. So accountancy is something related to, I'm also inclined to it. When I was about to make myself familiar with the accounting system, the accounting principles, and I seem to like it. So, in fact, my first job after graduating and passed the CPA board examination was really an accounting job. I worked in SGB, Sisip Torres Vilayan Company, which was the biggest accounting firm in Asia at the time. It was really the biggest accounting firm in Asia. So I started there, and also that paid me the way to work in San Miguel, Coca-Cola, which was my second employment after SGB. And I worked in San Miguel, Coca-Cola for 35 years. And my last position before I retired was area finance manager, which I cover Mindanao. And that's it. After 25 years, I retired. I opted for an early retirement as soon as I reached 50. You know, when you are based on our tax code, when you are 50, there is no more tax. That's tax exempt. Your retirement benefits. So that's how I planned that when I reach 50, I will retire. And later on, 2 years after I joined Pilgrim, it was only 2 years after that I was invited to be the president of Pilgrim, which was really funny, no? What happened in Pilgrim when I was still a young CPA, I was a member of the board of trustees. Because they were looking for a young in Pilgrim Institute at the time.
And you were also a chairman of the board of trustees.
At the time, in 1991, I was the chairman of the board of trustees at a very young age, and I was the board members then were some were among the pioneers at the time. And then later, my term I served the maximum term because I
as chairman of the board.
No, as member of the board of trustees, which because the members of the board of trustees then elected chair, and then I represented the General Assembly, the national office of the UCCP. So it's a maximum of 2 terms, so or 5 years, 10 years. So when I reached that maximum, I rested for more than 10 years, and then later on, I joined the board when it was already 2006 or 7, so more than 10 years later. And then they were looking for a new CEO, new president, and I was asked to help in
Meaning you didn't apply to be the president of Pilgrim Christian College, or you were looking for somebody who can take
I was asked to be a part of to craft the criteria or qualification of they were looking for a younger president, and then I was asked to help in the drafting the criteria, and of course the search committee will then based on the approved criteria. And later on, when we had already the criteria, one member of the board, the one that just passed away, Dr. Caballero, she's an educator, Grace Caballero. She was kidding, why are we still looking for someone else? Here's somebody that pointed at me. and I was just laughing.
What was your reaction then?
No, I have
Maybe
no
it was just a joke, something?
somehow, because I didn't have any plan really to join as head of a school. So I've been teaching. I've been teaching for a long time. In fact, right now I'm this year 2019 I'm celebrating my 40th year as a certified public accountant because I became a CPA in 1979. But in terms of teaching experience, I am now on my 30th year of teaching in 3 big schools. More than 10 years in Xavier, and then when I was assigned in General Santos, in Coca-Cola General Santos, where I was the finance manager. So I spent my night time, my vacant time teaching at the Notre Dame University in General Santos.
You also founded a kind of an accounting firm.
Yes, that was already after my retirement. I had a contemporary friend, colleague. She just retired also from the second biggest accounting firm at that time, because we were of the same industry, accounting firm. I worked in SGB, my present partner of the firm, Lindy
Was also
Patriana,
with
was
SGB,
also,
the
was
biggest
with
accounting
Carlos
firm.
Valdez. So we were friends even before. So when after I retired and she also retired from Carlos Valdez, we agreed to form a firm, and that is known as the BP and Company, Pacoa Patriana and Company, which is until today still serving the public.
So are you still active in this kind of doing an auditing job in that accounting firm, or you prefer to be teaching rather than being
You
in
can
that
do simultaneously. You know, in accountancy, in accountancy profession, there are 4 sectors, we call it, that you can do as an accountant. No, one is government service, other one is education, then third is commerce and industry sector, and then public practice. Actually, you can do this for in some point in your life. No? Like now, for example, I am in public practice because I have a firm. I am an educator because until now, I'm still teaching in Pilgrim. I'm on my 12th year teaching here, accounting, and then I'm also the head of the school, which is sort of a commerce and industry sector, because you are managing an entity.
So you're somehow kind of also a CPA reviewer teacher? Reviewer?
Before, when Xavier, in the early 80s, when Xavier put up the first, when they initially put up the CPA review center in Xavier, I was one of the pioneering reviewers. I was the reviewer in auditing.
But kind of that is also like teaching accountancy with the normal students.
Yes, being a reviewer is another thing, and being a college instructor or professor in college is also is another thing. No?
What's the difference?
Review is more, you are in review, of course, more comprehensive, more extensive, and you really have to orient and really make sure that the students will be prepared to take the, CPA is a very tough board exam.
Yeah, accordingly, CPA is the most difficult licensure examination. Do you
They
agree
say,
with this, sir?
no, it's not really the most I don't know, it's among the most difficult, but it's the passing is very low. In fact, the recent result of the CPA board exam, the very recent one in May, is among the lowest for the past 30 years. It was only 16%. So of the more than 10,000 who took the exam, only a little over 1,000 passed. So that's how difficult. No?
So it could be true that CPA exam is the most difficult?
Yeah, I would say it's very, the coverage is very, very, very broad. But if you are prepared, I think there's nothing difficult. It's compared to some other, similar to some other professions. Under the PRC now, it's the Professional Regulation Commission that administers and regulates board exams. But you know that there are already 52 regular board exams. So 52 professions. is being regulated or supervised by PRC. Daga na kayo, even mga landscaping architecture, mga there are so many courses now that are having embolism.
Kini kwan sir, never in your mind, you wanted to join the Board of Accountancy?
Board of right after, right after my term, I was nominated actually twice. In fact, recently I still have I was also nominated, but I'm not really
You're not interested?
After I became a president of PICPA. PICPA is the accredited, we call it APO, Accredited Professional Organization, recognized by PRC so Philippine Institute of Certified Public Accountants, where I became the national president in 2004. And also during that year, during my term, that the Accountancy Act, the accountancy law that we are using now, it's known as Republic Act 9298, the Accountancy Act of 2004. It was passed by Senate, by Congress during the year of my term as national president of PICPA.
Going back to Pilgrim, is this a school owned by the UCCP?
We call our term used before was church-related institution, but now we call it church institution. Pilgrim is a church institution of the United Church of Christ in the Philippines doing its teaching ministry. So right now we have 22 schools we have an association among UCCP schools. We call it UCCP Create, Church-Related Educational Arm Towards Empowerment. That's the term. That's the meaning of Create. It's an association of UCCP schools, and Pilgrim is one.
So does the church, UCCP, has a direct supervision?
Not
of your
directly in
school?
terms of operation, because we have the administrative people, but in the board of trustees, UCCP is very well represented, no? This is common to all other UCCP institutions. Like the bishop is an automatic member of the board, the conference minister, the senior pastor of the city church, these are among and then there are representatives from the General Assembly. So UCCP is almost one half or more than of the composition of the board. So that's how we are being governed in terms of governance under the board of trustees. But in terms of direct supervision, they just set guidelines which the schools, not just schools, institutions, because UCCP, other than having schools, we also have hospitals, which is our healing ministry. We have hospitals like in Davao, we have Brokenshire Hospital. In Cebu, we have the big Sios Community Medical Center. And in Tacloban.
Okay, sir. When you were chosen was elected as president of Pilgrim, what was your first action and what was the biggest challenge you faced?
I joined Pilgrim as president in 2008. And then, because at that time, the term of my predecessor, Dr. Andrante, has ended. And so, well, at that time, every year there are challenges. Even right now, I have a lot of challenges. We have a lot of challenges here in Pilgrim. And the whole private education sector as a whole, no? With all the developments that we have. But then at the time of Pilgrim, well, there were financial challenges. In fact, one of the considerations when we look for someone to take the lead as president of Pilgrim, somebody other than being young, is somebody familiar with financial management. Because at the time, that was the challenge that the Pilgrim was facing. So we were able to, so as soon as I took over Pilgrim, with the team, with my very supportive team, the Malcolm, we made assessment of what direction we should take. and what we should prioritize and how to raise possible resources so that we can address the obligations as well as improve our facilities, because children, students, the learners are really looking also how you look externally, how you look like. And if you remember, Pilgrim looks not so attractive in terms of its facilities, appearance, its building. They call it Angkal. We have our auditorium, our air-conditioned auditorium, which at that time was really not in good shape, not presentable, and very hot. Now we have a very nice auditorium.
So this could mean, sir, that you could need bigger finances to finance all these school buildings, auditorium. How did you do it?
I did not know. It's the Lord provide. In fact, looking back with all the things that we have done, with all the constructions that we developed here in the main campus, in the Barrio Pilgrim campus, and in Tablon, our training center there.
Is it a matter of like
There were a lot. Well, of course, I give due credit to the alumni. We have many generous alumni that help. We also have some. We improve our managing of our resources, and there are resources also that were not utilized before that is also contributing to the revenues of the school, things like that. And of course, we linked ourselves to get some funding and scholarship, and that propelled Pilgrim's not really extraordinary achievement, but really we were able to really improve ourselves and offer new courses and make another, like we offered technical courses, which is also which was not present before.
the Department of Education was telling us that it's no longer the problem of education accessibility, but this time it's always the quality of education.
It has always been quality, even if you look at the Constitution of the Philippines. Quality education, there's under the article on education. Quality education is always a priority. No? And in fact, especially now with the challenges of quality assurance, we should be at par with, at least with the ASEAN countries. That's why we have the assurance, quality assurance mechanism and framework that make us apart. That includes the introduction of the K-12. That has always been the reason before that the treatment of our professionals were lower in terms of in the other countries, because they always refer to our basic education, which was only 10 years. Now we have already K-12, and we already have revised the curriculum after the post senior high graduation. All these developments seem to address the issue of quality.
Okay, sir, as far as our graduates in the high school, the fourth-year high school, so are they enrolling in our school for the K-12, grade 11 and 12, or they transfer to another school?
Some transfer to another school because one is they want to, the courses that they will pursue after senior high is already present in that school, so they might as well enroll in the school senior high. But I noticed with our senior high, we have a lot also coming from far out, all over Mindanao. We have students, especially in public school, because in Pilgrim, our senior high, we don't have any top-up. So whatever is the subsidy given by government, we call it the senior high voucher, we don't add anymore. So, in fact, about more than 80% of our enrollees in the senior high are coming from the public school, and they only pay. They have no fees anymore, because
So
they
they
just give the government of the subsidy, which is 20,000 for the whole year.
So maybe because they wanted to, from public school, they wanted to try private school, and they would want to go in Pilgrim because of Christian education.
Yeah, that's one thing also. In fact, we are really promoting Pilgrim as a school of choice. Why school of choice? Because we want to project that, and we are very we are really determined, and part of our mission is to provide whole person education. So though we are a Christian school, and we have also distinctive curriculum which enhances and our Christian curriculum, but we also would like to approach the holistic development of the learner. That's why we are also going to sports, into other fields of interest of which of our students. And Pilgrim, we are now 71 years old. We are celebrating this year our because Pilgrim was established in 1948, and we have not changed our mission, and we are still doing it. To seek the lost, the least, and the last. No, even when I was in high school, all the expelled students from other high schools in Cagayan de Oro, they were all accepted in Pilgrim. Pilgrim accepts all students, and we have a lot of testimonies and stories. Many of those who were expelled in some other schools in Cagayan de Oro, they were reformed here, and in fact some of them became very successful in their own field. So that's one thing we still are doing. When the Pilgrim was established by laymen of Cagayan de Oro, church laymen, and their intention was really to develop young people, because it started as only high school, no? To develop young people to have that Christian character, and we still do that. In fact, our mission now, basically in our mission statement, is to produce graduates having that values of FIRES, F-I-R-E-S. That is, it means faith, integrity, responsibility, excellence, and service. And we teach that, we integrate that in all our curriculum from the preschool level up to the college level, instilling in them to have that values. Even me, when I'm teaching my auditing class, for example, these students will become future auditors, BIR examiners, auditors, and other businessmen or what. You can apply the values of FIRES to them, no? Faith, integrity, responsibility, excellence, and service. So we are still very much conscious and aware of that mission.
Going back, sir, to quality education. So this is somehow related to the quality of teachers you are hiring to be your teachers. How is it being done now?
Yes, Pilgrim is an accredited school by School ACI. For private school, there are three non-accreditors, no, accrediting agencies. But it's PAAP, it's the Philippine Federation of Accrediting Agencies of the Philippines that gives the accreditation. And who are these accrediting agencies? Mostly for Catholic schools, they have the PASCO, diba? And then for private schools, non-sectarian, they have the PACOCOA. For Protestant schools, we are a part of ACSCO, because we have also an association of Christian schools, colleges, and universities where I am the incumbent national president. We have also an accrediting agency, it's known as ACSCO ACI. So all these three members, PACOCOA, ACSCO ACI, and PASCO, form part of PAAP, which is the Federation of Accrediting Agencies in the Philippines. And these are all private. These are not under the government, because we believe that accreditation is a self-regulated thing, no? So we're doing that, but Of course, state universities, they also have their own accrediting agency, which is AACO. That's how it. And of course, the CHED and LIPED look at accreditation as very important. It's somehow assured of, because when you are accredited, you are above the minimum standard. And in accreditation, what are the things that are required? There are three things though. Instruction, which is the quality of your teachers, qualification, everything. Then we have the research. It's also a mandated criteria, and then we have extension.
Extension. How do
So
you
all
define
schools
extension?
that are accredited are tested or evaluated or assessed
On this
on
PS.
these three major factors.
So talking of
Okay.
research, you have a kind of a department that do
Yes,
does
we have a
research?
department of research and planning. We have a director there, and we challenge. We encourage our. In fact, we have incentives, no, in terms of all departments, be you a teaching or a non-teaching person or within the department. We are challenging them to do their research. Researches which are the topics or the topics very relevant to the community, to the school, to the church, and we are doing that. We incentivize our faculty or team of faculty who will do the research, and we give them financial incentives.
Maybe one of
And
those.
these are some of the things that the accreditors also are looking. And we also encourage our students to, well, of course, we have research subjects, even as early as high school. Our science class, because we have a separate class for our students. The science class, or under a new another curriculum, one of the requirements there for the science class students is to hold their own research.
But not everybody can enroll in that science class.
It's
a
based on
kind
your
of-
scholastic record and the
Scholastic
result
records.
of your entrance. And the fee is somehow higher, because you have more science subjects and you have more requirements. But it's a good training for those students that are above average and want to develop themselves more fully.
Well, what about extension?
Extension, we have we have institutionalized Pilgrim as an institution, as an educational institution. We have institutionalized our partnership, barangay partner. We have two barangay partners. One is in Tablon, the whole barangay Tablon is our partner. So all our extension programs for all our departments and colleges, we do it there. We have regular medical mission. We have regular, during summer, we are teaching all the students to teach
Maybe
children.
cooking, maybe how to,
And then Barangay 15, which is also our immediate neighbor in Barrio Pilwit, is also our partner. In fact, just few months ago, we inaugurated the water system. We provided because that area is somehow thickly populated, and water is much to be desired. It's a long-monthing need of the residents there. So we have water inside our campus in Barrio, and we share that water from our deep well to our immediate neighbor. So they are now using the water, we call it pilgrim water, which the barangay is using. Other than we have other programs, our children, our elementary students, every now and then go there and do some immersion and some gift giving and sharing with the children. Because our elementary, that's their extension, the barangay 15, which is just our neighbor.
Okay, so you were also involved in other community-related involvements, like you were with the Oro Chamber?
Yeah, Oro Chamber, which is an association of different industry practitioners, and I belong to the service sector. I was once the vice president of the service sector of the Oro Chamber. You know?
Until now, you're still part or member of
No, no more. I'm still an active member of the chamber. I'm a member there for two representations. Pilgrim is a member of the Oro Chamber, and our firm is also a member. So that's how I am involved there. I'm also involved in the cooperative in Pinto before. I used to be treasurer, board, and eventually became chair
So,
of Pinto.
that
Pinto
is-
is the biggest open type cooperative in, I think, the whole Philippines now.
You were also with the United Way. What is
I'm
this,
also
sir?
the vice president of United Way. Is an NGO that really provides medical assistance. It has been there for quite a long time. It usually is known as the community. I don't know if you've heard the community chest before.
Yeah, before.
United Way is an international organization, but they are independent of each other in terms of operation. We are an independent organization. We have locally incorporated, and we have helped a lot of, particularly patients from the Northern Mindanao Medical Center, because our building is just beside, just across. So one of the programs that we are really doing now is to provide shunt for these children having hydrocephalus case. We have a MOA with the hospital, with the Northern Mindanao Medical Center. They will be admitted there for free, and then the surgeon, Dr. Yakapin, all the professional fees. She has a partner now who also does the operation, surgery. That's also free, and we provide a shunt. Each shunt is about 14,000, and we have helped a lot of children having that cases, no? And they are coming out, and you will really feel how you have that sense of fulfillment that somehow you are giving hope. Because before people, families who have that kind of one, they're just submissive to their fate that eventually children will just die.
So, bakit pa ng YMCA karon, sir?
Our YMCA is still very much active. In fact, Pilgrim is very active in its campus organization, YMCA. We have scholarship from YMCA in San Sarita. And until now, we are among the schools that they have very strong and active partnership with the YMCA in San Sarita.
Gusto may mga programa, sir, sa mga eskwelahan, pinili o YMCA, doon sila yung mga kind of sports activities, something?
Yeah, YMCA still promotes the whole. It really is consistent with our direction, whole person education. No? You know, YMCA is also into that, no? In sports, in swimming, particularly swimming, because most of the children every summer they have swimming. It's YMCA that sponsors that, and they also give priority to education. In fact, 3 years ago, because of their theme on education, when they had their annual induction, they chose me because I represent education. They chose me as the inducting officer, and I was so surprised and even elated why an educator has been invited to be the inducting officer. And when the president gave his acceptance speech, they really give education as one of their top priority mission.
How about Boy Scout developments? How did you get involved in this?
I was even when I was young, when I was in elementary, I was already active in scouting. Then when I was in Coca-Cola, I'm part of the executive, the board of Cagayan de Oro, because Cagayan de Oro already organized its own council. When I was in elementary, there was only one council, Misamis Oriental Council. So when I was already working in Coca-Cola as finance officer, and Coca-Cola is one of the major corporate sponsors of the scouting movement. So I was involved there. I was in fact member of the executive council, of the Cagayan de Oro Council. And I became a rover scout, a senior scout. This rover scout is for the professionals and for the adults. And I am then in Pilgrim now. We are both our elementary and high school. We are.
Is this required or they can just be voluntary?
It's not mandatory for our students, but it is one of the organization, one of the movements. It's not an organization; it's a movement. That is, we really push and encourage children, students to participate. It's very good in terms of character building, because as you remember, the Scout law. They just follow the Scout law, being obedient, thankful.
Then you become a very
They will become very good citizens. So we just had our investiture 2 weeks ago here for our new Scouts, and we have regular support from the council. We just have also our camping last 2 weeks ago at in Tablon, where our students put up. They did not use the dorm. They put up their own tents and spent 3 days there. In fact, I visited them regularly during that time.
So as your childhood, you are a member of the UCCP Church.
Yes, United Church, because the family, our local church, which is Lapasan UCCP, has been the core member that are our families belong to the Bakunga clan. But in the whole Philippines, I think we are the only local church that produced already 14 pastors. We produced the general secretary, the highest position in UCCP, which called general secretary, Bishop Labunto, who is also the chair of the board of trustees in Pilgrim, and a Pilgrim alumnus. I just finished last year my term. I was the General Assembly and National Chair of UCCP, which is a 4-year non-re-election position. The chairman of the UCCP General Assembly, the highest body of the United Church, mandatory it should be a layman. That's why layman and requirement. That's why I qualified. And I finished my 4-year term already last year when we hosted a General Assembly. We hosted a General Assembly last year, which we meet only every 4 years.
So this is a kind of church that is separate from the normal Baptist church.
The Protestant missionaries came to the Philippines at about the third century, when the Americans also came here, so in 1898, and there were denominations, American missionaries coming from the United States of different denominations. There were Methodist, Baptist, Congregational, Disciple, Presbyterian, and other Assembly of God, Alliance. And they made an agreement to make certain territorial areas where they can focus so that they will not be competing with each other. And from then on, there were attempts to really, because if you look at the doctrines of the teachings of these Reformed church, they are called Reformed churches, no? Or Protestant churches. They have very common basis of faith. And so in 1948, actually, after all these initiatives, in 1948, in May 25, 1948, they forged the unity of five major, they call it traditions or denominations, namely the Philippine Methodists, the Presbyterians, the Congregational, Disciple of Christ, and there's also another Protestant group which was part of the Methodist. No, the Baptist. The Baptist, there's a part of the Baptist that formed the UCP. So they became the United Church of Christ in the Philippines. In Mindanao, our church belonged to the Congregational because when when they made assignments where to focus, the Congregational Church, it's a big church in the US, they came here. They were assigned here in Mindanao, like Davao and Cagayan de Oro. In fact, this year I went to, the Harvard University is a congregational denomination. It was established by the Congregationals. I went there. Pilgrim is a congregational denomination. Siliman University is Presbyterian. Presbyterian. And, there are big university. Princeton University, which is one of the best also in the league, is a Presbyterian. I was able to visit that university this year.
Okay, so you were also, you are really deacons. The Bible giving group?
Yes. And where the Gideons it's a more than 100-year organization. It started in the US, and it has been in almost all countries in the world, even non-Christian countries. It has Gideon camps. We call our like Cagayan de Oro camp. It's not a chapter, because we Gideons are soldiers. If you're soldiers, you are in a camp, and its primary purpose is to share the good news about salvation through Jesus Christ by way of giving free Bibles for free, to all lanes of life, like children, students, the soldiers, police, hotels, motels, hospitals. We do that. I've been a national treasurer of Gideons several years ago for 3 terms. So I was also a camp president of Cagayan de Oro camp a long time ago.
How is it still funded, sir?
Huh?
The collection or the printing of the Bibles?
It's really funded by members and mga donors, anonymous, and others. We raise scripture funds through our own, because Gideon is an association or fellowship of Christian businessmen and professionals. Though it's not really elitist, because all these people are the ones that are really sharing the resources and put up scripture funds and print it, and that's what we do every year. Until every year we do that. We have annual conventions every year, annual international conventions. All the international conventions are done in the US. So many Filipino Gideons also attend every year.
Can the other churches also ask this kind of
actually, I forgot. Other than us Gideon members raise money or contribute from our own resources, we also visit. We call it church reporting. We visit all churches and share report to them what the Gideons has done. So during the visits, the churches normally give their donations, their offering. We call it scripture offering, and very welcoming. Most of the Protestant churches that we visit every year are very welcoming, and they give also that. And many times we receive even anonymous giver giving such substantial amount.
Like for example, sir, a newly founded church, then they have no resources, then they will approach your Gideon and then ask for Bibles for their church.
Where we have a policy, we don't give Bibles to churches. We only give, it's not among the lane of distribution, because the church is already the local. The church is its own program, it has its own mission, it has its own teaching. We don't go to the church, but members of the Gideons must be an active member of a local church. That's our minimum qualification. You cannot be a Gideon if you are not a member of a local church. But in terms of distribution, we have defined hospitals, students, military, police, hotels, motels, and isang mga barko, na mga cabin we put there. Prisuhan, okay, jails, we go there, we put Bibles. In fact, we, like hospitals, we regularly replenish because once we put the Bible there, a week after, it's already many of the patients bring the Bible, and then it's okay because they seem to be interested. That's why they bring the Bible, and we receive a lot of testimonies of lives saved, changed lives when they read the Bible in the hotel, in the hospital. There were even a testimony that she was about to commit suicide, and then she was just, the Bible was always at her side at the hotel room, that she forgot to, nabuntagan siya reading in the Bible. There are guides there where to find scriptures in times of whatever human situation.
Okay, going to the lighter side of you, I can notice that there are many coffee mugs around. What's these services are just given to you or you been collecting?
It's a hobby, and then people just give. Actually, I have hundreds of mugs already, and some are from abroad. What is this? This is San Diego.
San Diego.
When I went there. This is Toronto. When I also, I have a friend who went there. Anyway, it has been a hobby, and so whenever I travel, which I do a lot, if there's an opportunity to buy souvenir mugs in that area or in that place where I went to, I always buy. And then if there are some of my staff or my friends who are traveling or who are from what place, and then you visit me or as my gift or pasalubong, they don't have any problem anymore what to think.
So now they know what to
They
give.
know, and I just this week I received 3 from abroad, different places. So some even just send it to me by mail or because they cannot see me personally. They are on vacation, and then we have no chance to see each other. They just made to me the mugs, and somehow it seemed interesting.
You're married to Dr. Cindy.
Cindy, we met in the church. We are all church people. That's siguro make us also blessed. We meet in the church, and then she's a doctor. She's OB-GYN, obstetrician, gynecologist, and we are. What day is today? Today is October 10, 11. 6 days from now, we will be celebrating our 32nd wedding anniversary. 32 years of God's grace and blessings. We are blessed with 4 children, 4 responsible children, one boy and 3 girls, and we are also blessed that 2 of my girls are already full-fledged doctors. I have also a daughter who is a CPA like me, and I have my son involved here in Pilgrim and into IT, and I have 1 apo already, and so it makes life cycle fun, fulfilling.
Your only son to be your favorite child? Your only son, Maurice, is your favorite
No,
child?
I don't have any favorite.
So you have that kind of...
No, we don't practice. We don't do that in our family.
And Dr. Cindy must be very careful, must be very caring to you, and this seems to be that you are
Healthy.
always happy.
And most badlungon patient. Not very complying with what is.
Pero lagi to advisor nga what to eat, what not to eat, what to
We
eat.
eat whatever in the house. So there is somehow our household will know what. Like every day we have vegetables, especially in the evening, because we eat together usually breakfast, and we always have vegetables. Sudan.
But I can say that you're also a meat eater.
Very much.
What dish you like most? Adobo, lechon.
What's funny also in our family, I'm the one who is mahilig or good in cooking. Not really good, no, because I don't play myself. Not like my father who was really a good cook. My mother is not so much. And in our setup, I also cook. My wife doesn't cook. That's how we are. So.
And aside from, doing healthy living, what about your physical?
That's one thing that I aim and I really strive. Unlike before, where I do a lot of, I do walking and swimming. I used to swim for several years before I got married. I'm a daily swimmer there at the
Nice.
sports center, but because of the busy schedule, somehow that's why I'm moving.
What about Zumba? Have you tried dancing and maybe?
Not really as a regular thing, but if there are, like in school we have Zumba every year, once a year. I participate.
And for singing also,
It's
singing?
not my. I just love to hear music. Though when I was younger, I was a youth leader. And our church very active. The young people are encouraged to be very active. I'm a regular choir member when I was in high school and college and even early after graduation. I am a regular member in our church choir. I'm a bass.
You are known to be a world traveler. Usang country, sir, wala na
Hindi pa. I just last week I counted the countries I've been to. I've been to 19 countries pa lang. But in the US, I'm unlike other Filipinos who were there for a long time. Some only who visited 2 or 3 states. No, because United States is so big. I was able to visit 23 states. And I enjoy, and I still want to go there. In fact, I plan to go there next year, early next year.
Thank you very much, sir. And it's a
Thank
pleasure
you.
having with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Kai. I hope
And-
we learned something in this sharing and conversation.
And this is Good for Kids of Sios-e Online News Magazine.
Mayroon ba posto?